So this is the exercise number 11. Draw the top view and the front view of a cylinder cut by a section plane in such a manner that the true shape of the section is an ellipse with 50 millimeter and 100 millimeter as its minor and major axis respectively. Find the slope angle of cutting plane. Take the smallest generator to be 25 millimeter long, 25 millimeter in length. In this question, it is said that a cylinder is cut by a section plane in such a manner that the true shape of the section is an ellipse. The dimensions of the ellipse are given, that is 50 millimeter is the minor axis and 100 millimeter is the major axis. And no dimensions about the cylinder or no dimensions of the cylinder is given. So how to find out the dimensions, the diameter of the cylinder, the length of the cylinder, etc., etc. So let's see this. If this is an ellipse, so this is the ellipse, then this will be the major axis and this will be the minor axis. So this is the condition. When a cylinder is cut by a cylinder like this, if it is cut by a plane in such a way that if we must get the major axis as 100 millimeter, then this length should be 100 millimeter. That is obvious, that we have already done some sort of like this. So this should be 100, and whatever is perpendicular to this should be 50. So in this case, from this one, it is evident that the minor diameter or the minor axis length will be equal to the diameter of the cylinder. So the diameter of the cylinder is this 50 millimeter is the diameter of the cylinder. And then the height we have to determine once we draw it. We cannot assume it right now. This height we have to assume. We cannot assume it right now. So we have to calculate it, or we have to find it out after drawing the ellipse. Then only we will be able to find it out. So let's see how this can be drawn and how the height of the cylinder can be obtained. And the height of the cylinder need not be a specific value. It can be varying for different people also. So let's see how this is drawn. So first our XY line, then the top view of the cylinder. The top view of the cylinder, as I said, it will be a circle of diameter 50 millimeter. So 50 millimeter diameter circle. Then we divide the circle into 8 equal parts, name the parts. Then what we do is we start from the base of the circle, I mean base of the cylinder. So the base of the cylinder is fixed. Then it is said that the minimum length of a generator should be 25 millimeter. So what we do is we first start a generator. We draw a generator which is of height 25 millimeter. So this length, this is a generator, and thus that generator should be of length 25 millimeter. Then from the other generator, the opposite end generator, we doesn't know the actual length of it, so we draw it for a specific some arbitrary length, any length that you need. The only condition is that when we draw an arc from here, arc with the center as this point as the center, and 100 millimeter radius, because the major axis is of 100 millimeter. So with a 100 millimeter radius, it should intersect this second end generator at some point. So that is the only condition. So like this, with the center as this point as center, and radius as 100 millimeter, draw an arc which intersects with this line. The length of the line should be sufficient enough so that it will intersect. The arc of radius 100 millimeter will intersect with this this generator, this end generator. Now, to get the section plane, join this point with this point of intersection of the arc with the end generator. So like this. This is our section plane. Now we can assume any length above this cylinder, above this particular point as the length of the cylinder. So in this case, we assume it to be 120 millimeter. Since this length will not be 120. So 120 will be slightly more, a larger length than the length of the height of this point from the XY line. So you can assume any length above, any length which is above this particular point. So that length can be assumed for the cylinder. Now you can complete the cylinder. Now complete the cylinder and all the generators. Once this one is completed. Now drawing the ellipse towards this side is a bit difficult. Towards this side, if you draw the ellipse, it may go out of your paper. So in order to avoid such conditions, when you draw the true shape of the section planes, in order to draw it, there is another method, not easier method, but it is a space-saving method. In which case, what we do is we assume an x1, y1 line which is slightly away from it. It is not parallel to this one. Instead, it will be parallel to the xy line itself. So that we will show. That way we can draw it. Before that one, we mark all the points P dash, Q dash, P dash, Q dash, R dash, then S dash, T dash, U dash, V dash, and W dash. That is all the points generated by the intersection of the section plane with the generators. All those points are marked. Now those points are marked in the top view also. P, Q, R, S, T. So these are the points P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. All the points are marked. Now the front view will be only this much, and the top view will be completely section. This is the complete front view as well as the top view. Now the inclination of this section plane will be the inclination, this inclination you have to find out. This inclination is the inclination of the section plane. Now in order to draw the true shape, as I said, there is an alternate method in which you can save some space. So here what we do is we draw an x1, y1 line which will be parallel to the xy line. x1, y1 line will be parallel to the xy line, or it is a horizontal line. Now from this, in this line, we mark this distance, P dash, W dash distance is marked here, and all the corresponding points, P dash, Q dash, S dash, U dash, W dash, all these distances are marked here, like this. So P dash, Q dash, R dash, then S dash, T dash, U dash, V dash, W dash. This is similar to drawing perpendicular lines from P dash, Q dash, R dash, S dash, T dash, U dash, V dash, and W dash, and perpendicular to the line, perpendicular to this section plane, passing through these points. So this is similar to the same thing. And now the distance of the points P from XY line is marked. The distance of P from XY line, Q from XY line, R from XY line, etc. are marked here. So in this condition, so like this, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. Now join all those points to get the shape of the ellipse. So this is how it is being drawn. So this is this method. If you have enough space, you can draw it right here itself, or else you can draw it like this. This is an alternate method of getting the true shape of the section. Maybe an easier method. I don't know whether it is an easier method, but I don't feel it to be easier, because anyway you will have to transfer all these distances. This distance is to be transferred, that this distance is to be transferred, then all those distances is to be transferred to this new line, so that this is how it can be drawn. This is the end. Okay, any doubts or any clarifications, any repetitions? Nothing. Which part? ഏത് പാർട്ടാണ് മോനെ പറയേണ്ടത്? കംപ്ലീറ്റ് പറയണോ? ഹലോ, അത് ആദ്യം തൊട്ട് പറയണോ അതോ ഒരു പാർട്ട് മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതിയോ? ഓക്കെ, എനിവേ സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ് തൊട്ട് പറയാം. So we start with our XY line. Then we draw the circle of diameter 50 millimeter. Then we divide the circle into 8 equal parts. Sorry, not 8. 8 equal parts. Then name the points accordingly, the generators. Name the generators accordingly. Then one of the generator should be of length 25 millimeter. Since it is the minimum length of the generator should be 25 millimeter. So one of the generator should be of length 25 millimeter. So the second generator, we doesn't know the actual length. So what we does is we draw sufficient length so that an arc with the center as this new point. This point can be intersect with this particular generator. So an arc of radius 100 millimeter is drawn, which intersects with the second end generator. Now join the point of intersection of the arc with the second generator with the initial first point that we obtained. So this is the section plane. Now we assume the length of the height of the cylinder to be 120 millimeter. That value, the 120, need not be 120 itself. It can be any value that is greater than this particular value. That should be above this particular point. That's the only condition. So then that's obtained. Then we complete the cylinder. The naming of the cylinder or naming of the generators is completed. Then the newly found out points, the newly found endpoints of the generators are marked. Then that is P dash, Q dash, R dash, S dash, T dash, U dash, V dash, W dash. Then those points are marked in the top view: P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. So all those points are marked in the top view. Now the front view is completed with only the section that is remaining, and in the top view the entire circle is to be hashed, since it forms an entire ellipse, a complete ellipse. It is to be hashed. So that's it. Now in order to get the true shape, what we do is we generate an x1 y1 line which is parallel to the xy line itself. Then in that line, in that new x1 y1 line, we reproduce the distance P dash W dash. The distance P dash W dash is reproduced, and from those points we mark the points Q dash, R dash, S dash, T dash, U dash, V dash also. Between these points P dash and W dash, the distance of this distance should be equal to this distance. this distance parallel to this line, this distance. So likewise, we reproduce all those distances, P dash, Q dash, R dash, S dash, T dash, then U dash, V dash, then W dash. Then all the points are marked as V does in our normal case. That is, in order to get the point P, the distance of top view of P from XY line is marked from this point, this P dash, from the P dash to this point. So that distance is marked. Now to get Q, the distance of Q, small letter Q from XY line is marked. That distance is marked in this the point in the line through Q dash R dash. So likewise, all those points are marked. Then we finally join all the points, all the 8 points to get an ellipse, and then the ellipse is hatched. So in this case, this distance, the major axis of the ellipse will be 100 millimeter and the minor axis will be 50 millimeter. So that's it. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
മനസ്സിലായോ?
Sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah, പറഞ്ഞോ.
നമ്മൾ ഈ എക്സ്വൈ മാറ്റി കേൾക്കണ്ടോ?
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, പറഞ്ഞോളൂ.
നമ്മൾ ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ? എക്സ്വൈ ലൈൻ മാറ്റി ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ്.
ഇത് എല്ലാ പ്രോബ്ലത്തിലും നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം. അല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ X1 Y1 ഇതിന് പാരലലായിട്ട് വരച്ചിട്ട് വേണമെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യാം. രണ്ടിൽ ഏത് രീതിയിൽ ചെയ്താലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല. നമുക്ക് സഫീഷ്യന്റ് സ്പേസ് ഇവിടെ അവൈലബിൾ ആണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ തന്നെ പാരലൽ ലൈൻ X1 Y1 ലൈൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഈ VT ലൈനിന് പാരലലായിട്ട് വരച്ചിട്ട് ചെയ്താലും കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. നോ പ്രോബ്ലം. ഇങ്ങനെ തന്നെ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് നിർബന്ധമൊന്നുമില്ല. ഓക്കെ. Okay, shall we move on to the next one? Because I am in a hurry. I want to wind it up by 2:30. I have an urgent meeting. I hope it's okay for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, shall we move?